We are live. I'm gonna post the link to Twitter. Give me a second, y'all. Let me post the link to Twitter because I want to make sure that my haters is watching me and I'm making money off of their miserable lives. I want to make money off of their misery. Y'all give me a second. And so, what's goody Como, what's goody Rod, what's goody Concha, que lo que G Funky en el building ahí, el Sawab con la cocaína, con el carro, con la mierda, ay Dios mío. And yeah, Canelo Alvarez has made the decision to fight Gennady Golovkin for a third time, which I suspected that he would make. It's the right decision. The people in his team, devoid of what people want to say now, because there are too many knee-jerk reactions in boxing to where people think it's all about the here and the now, when in reality, Lennox Lewis, when he lost to Oliver McCall, they didn't have an immediate rematch. Muhammad Ali, when he fought Joe Frazier and lost to him, they didn't have an immediate rematch. The idea that you have to run it back immediately with the fighter, Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones Jr.'s rematch, there's 14 years in between the first fight and the second fight. Only, the people that you see on Twitter, and I've said this before, the people that you see on social media in general, they do not represent the bulk of paying fight fans. They literally don't. It only seems that way because they're so loud. They're so loud. They talk so much. They do so much to get attention, when in reality, that only really represents a small fraction of the actual people that take in boxing, have been taking in boxing for many, many years, and spend money, cash money, to see boxing. So I take no issue with Canelo Alvarez's move because I'm not a fucking casual. I know that a lot of rematches were not immediate rematches. There were fights in between. Historically, that's more or less how it goes a good amount of the time. Not all rematch situations were immediate rematches. You know what I mean? As far as what I think the fight will do, I think the fight will be I think it will be commercially successful, more so than the Beterbiev fight. It could come close to touching $1 million. I don't know if it will, but I anticipate if you can do 5 and 6 with Dimitri, who nobody really knows, you can touch 8 and 9, maybe better, with Gennady Golovkin, who, unlike all those PBC guys, he is an international superstar. People do know him. They don't just know him in America. They know him in Asia. They know him in the Eastern Bloc, in the Far East. It's like only these local nickel and dime bum motherfuckers that live with their mom or live with their girlfriend, only these bum motherfuckers don't realize, it's more going on out here than just this shit. You do realize that, right? You do realize that if you cater to a global market as opposed to a local one, you get more money. I would put you on to some shit, but because a lot of y'all motherfuckers is obnoxious as shit, fuck you. Fuck you and fuck your bills. Because I can help you get some money, but fuck you. You know what I mean? Rafa, que lo que, manín? Willie Lynch in the building. I want to open up the chat to the panel early. You know what I mean? Because I think he's making the right decision. I think the people in his corner, they want what's best for him. And what's best for him is to live to fight another day. Because to figure out the puzzle that is Beterbiev, you don't want to do so hastily. I've said it from the beginning. This is a guy who stylistically, he presents a very frustrating style for Canelo Alvarez, a pesky style to where he's durable enough to take what comes in, but there won't be much coming in because he stays on the balls of his feet and he's more of a jabber than a power guy. He's not going to commit to a lot of his punches, and that's not going to give you very many opportunities to hit him clean. And even if you do hit him clean, he can take it. So you really got to figure out, you need the right strategy to beat a guy like that when you know that a knockout is probably not going to happen. You know what I mean? Sonny Showtime in the building. Yeah, I'm ranting, yo. Dirty House Boxing. Oi, best place boxing. Yeah, man, we gonna talk shit. We're gonna aggravate people. I wanna give a special shout out to who's this guy? Special shout out to That Ain't It, bro. Listen, man. You gotta hide behind Google stock images to use Twitter. Ain't no way you gonna decorate that to be in a good look. You ashamed of your own mug, fam. That's fucking pitiful. Who need to make alt accounts and burner accounts and ghost accounts to talk about some fucking boxing? What kind of childish shit are all these people on to where they think because they on Twitter that it's normal, but people in real life is looking at you like, yo, why do you need to hide your face to talk boxing? What are you doing? What is going on with you, fam? There's no real reason you should have to hide your face or hide what you look like just to talk boxing, unless you're fuck ugly or you're a troll. Or both. You could be a fuck ugly troll. There's all type of fly shit going on out here. You want this, karma. This is what you wanted. All right? Now, the fact of the matter is that Canelo Alvarez will fight in a commercially successful fight with Gennady Golovkin for a third time, and no one can poo-poo over Canelo fighting Gennady for a third time because these same motherfuckers is oohing and eyeing that David Benavidez fought David Lemieux. You can't big him up for beating David Lemieux and then poo-poo on Canelo for Golovkin. Not when you oohing and eyeing over that basic ass shit. I motherfucking told y'all David Lemieux don't belong in the same ring with David Benavidez. That is a foregone conclusion fight. So if you impress by basic ass shit like that, you can't shit on Canelo fighting Golovkin and it makes sense because he beat Lemieux before Benavidez. You can't poo-poo, karma. You can't. Can't motherfucking poo-poo, yo. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All right? At the end of the day, I said what he should do is regroup, re-strategize, get himself back in the winner's bracket, make a lot of money with Golovkin because the truth is nobody gives a fuck about those PBC guys. That's why y'all hate that Canelo dude so much because he embarrassed y'all. His worst numbers is still numbers you can't put up. Let's say it only did 540. I know it didn't, but I'm going to just go with the narrative. Let's say that it only did 540. Who at the PBC doing 540 right now? Who? What fight can you make that between them guys that'll do better than that? Please tell me. Because Javante been on pay-per-view 3 times. He ain't break 3 yet. Charlos, they was both on pay-per-view. 100,000. Ruiz and Areola. 100,000, if that. I don't even believe 100,000 people bought that shit. They put Luis Ortiz and Charles Martin on pay-per-view. What did that do? Spence versus Ugas. What did that do? What did it do? The reason motherfuckers hate me, I'm gonna be a some bitch today. I'm gonna tell you the truth. The reason motherfuckers hate me is because they know they can't argue the shit I'm saying and make sense. The only way you could argue the shit that I'm saying is to act like a jackass and be a troll because you know everything I'm saying is true. If 540 ain't shit, I'm just going with it. I know it's 600,000 plus, but I'm gonna go with the 540 just to prove a point. If 540 ain't shit, why Javante ain't hit that yet? Why Spence ain't hit that yet? Why the Charlos ain't hit that? Why did Wilder need Tyson Fury to sell what that sold? Because you ain't sell that by yourself. When they put you out there with Luis Ortiz, what you did? 200,000. So if 540 ain't shit, how come y'all can't hit it? I know why. It's because y'all ain't shit. With the motherfucking shit. You know what I'm saying? I am with the motherfucking shit.
We with the shit today, Jules.
With the motherfucking shit. I'm trying to make people feel bad about their life. That's what I'm trying to do today.
Fuck COVID,
building, son.
Fuck COVID. It got
What's good, brother?
It got it, brother.
Look, man, I'm tired of people attacking my man Canelo, and I'm going to defend him at all costs, and I don't give a shit. That's my man's in him. He made me a believer. I used to be real hard on Canelo, and then I realized why I'm being hard on Canelo when the rest of these cats is bitch made. It don't make sense. That man ain't 5'7" if he ain't 5'6". That is a little ass man with the heart of a lion. You got fucking big ass Charlo scared of Benavidez. It has to stop.
Yo.
Good conversation with Samson, by the way. I caught that on the space.
You see, I put him on the spot.
You
But you
did?
see, I put him on the spot.
Yes,
How you
did.
gonna tell me that the PBC ain't about money, but you the one that's on camera saying this business is about two things: making money and making money. I have the audio from that recorded because I'm gonna put it together. They're like, yo, y'all cats is frauds over there. I don't get, like, Benavidez could be cool for what it's worth. He seems like a good kid. Like, I like him, but I don't like your promoter. And I ain't going to hide it. Like, nah, I don't like your promoter. Your promoter full of shit. That's why you got to constantly come out and dispel the bullshit that he be saying. He said $10 million for Andre, but I thought it wasn't about money. I thought it was about integrity.
Hey, Ring. Hey, I don't mean to interrupt, man, but I just want to say something real quickly. I don't have too much time. I'm going to just say my opinion on Canelo's decision, and I'm going to jump off, man. But I also want to say thanks for letting me on, man. It's my first time on the channel, so I appreciate it. But I want to say this. I've been calling for this third fight for a long time because there's a majority of people, including myself, that feel that Golovkin beat Canelo twice, right? First fight, I feel like, was pretty convincing. Second fight could have went either way. Very good fight. One of my favorite fights in the last 5-6 years. So I feel like this was due, and I know that the timing's not good and people are going to bitch and moan about it, but I look at boxing from a competitive perspective, right? And if we have close fights that could have went either way, we got to run that shit back. You know what I'm saying? Like, we go to the park, we play a game of 21. I beat you 21-2. You ain't gonna say let's run that shit back. I'm like, nah, sit your ass down. I'm gonna play somebody else now. But if the game's close, then we can run it back. So that's why I'm not really tripping off of it. I feel like it's a good decision instead of going straight into an immediate rematch with Bivol, because that's a tough fight for Canelo. And that's really all I got to say about it, man. I'm okay with it. I've been saying this third fight needs to happen for quite some time. So you're not gonna hear any bitching and moaning from me, bro.
Let me say this, G Funky. I come from the perspective de un viejo. Yo soy un viejo. Okay? Que cuando Chávez le dio esa salsa a Camacho, I watched that fight because that is how fucking old I am.
Me too.
Okay? Yo soy un viejo. Y como un viejo, yo sé que, mira, not all rematches are immediate. Roy Jones versus Hopkins wasn't immediate. Lewis versus McCall wasn't immediate. Frazier versus Ali wasn't immediate. It's normal for there to be, a fight in between. Y antes que toda la gente me digan a mí que que Golovkin está viejo. Mira, mamagüevo, ese tipo unified champion. Unificado. Okay. He's still a champion. Okay. Y Benavidez, aunque el muchacho es bueno, él está peleando con Lemiao. So, ¿cómo tú vas a criticar a Canelo for fighting Golovkin, but you're not going to criticize Benavidez for fighting Lemiao? Deja la vaina. It has to stop. It has to stop.
And I'm going to add to what you said, Jules. The reason before there was gaps between rematches and trilogies is so the losing fighter could build himself back up and the public be like, oh, okay, he's back on the winning track. Let's run it back. And people could hate on Floyd. I criticize Floyd a lot. But one thing you can't say is anytime there was no definitive win for Floyd Mayweather, he ran it back with the guy to make it definitive.
No, and I respect it, but a lot of these guys act like this is the other thing, because I hate the way it sounds when I say it, but it's the truth. Floyd is not the fucking end-all and be-all. Like, they act like Floyd is the end-all and be-all. For all that shit you did, motherfuckers still don't rock with you, though. All you got is your money. And I don't even think, right now, I really feel like, yo, this dude is broke, fam. Ain't no motherfucking way you still out here doing these mediocre shows if you got paper. If the show was a high-profile show with, like, celebrities, then I can see, like, yeah, yo, you getting money because, you probably do one with Sylvester Stallone or somebody. Bro, you did one with your old sparring partner. That reeks of desperation.
It's like this, Jules, like the rapper Chameleonaire. He don't put albums out no more. He's in Silicon Valley investing, making
That's
money.
What I'm saying. And we've had that conversation many, many times over that. The guys that graduate, they don't tend to stay in the same racket. They graduate to other rackets, like 50 graduated to writing television shows, and Jay graduated into investing in companies. You don't see him having to like cut a record or do a tour. Nah, he graduated from that shit. That's baby money to him now. Whereas Floyd, what we see with Floyd, you still doing the same old shit. You just not doing real fights. But you really are doing the same old shit. Like, oh, I'm going to have an exhibit. I dig it. Like, hey, get your money if you need it. But it really do look like you need it. Because they moved the shit from the helipad in Dubai to Abu Dhabi. Like, yo, do you have, like, in other words, you couldn't afford to postpone this? Is this important to you that it has to happen on Saturday? It has to happen.
And what that tells me, Jules, is that they just were kept renegotiating his guarantee after the pre-sales of the pay-per-views weren't what they thought it was going to be.
What I see is a dude that you let somebody else handle your money and they fucked up your money, because ain't no motherfucking way I'm going to be out here 46 doing this goofy shit. He 46, right? He like 46?
45. I've been 45.
Bro, I'd have been, if I'm in Dubai or I'm in Abu Dhabi, pardon my French for anybody that is like, you know, you have your sensitivities, but I'm getting my dick sucked every day. That's what I'm gonna be doing.
Amen. Day. Amen.
The fuck I look like out here still doing this, man? I'm getting my fucking first do the tip, then the shaft, and the balls every day. Fuck is you talking about? I'm gonna still be out here doing these kinds of events for what purpose when there is not actually a celebrity involved? If there was a celebrity involved, an influencer, even a B-lister, I could understand. You did an event with your old sparring partner. The events have gradually become smaller and smaller, from Maymack to Tenshin Nasukawa, who's was really only a star in Asia, to Logan Paul, a YouTube guy, now to an old sparring partner.
It's like Jules.
Ernie's fighting Mickey Mouse next.
It's like he's going like an old professional wrestler. Pretty soon it'll be the high school events. Once out of the WWE.
I'm just saying, Karma, ain't no motherfucking way I'm gonna be sitting on all that paper and I'm not on a like, I would buy an island, Blowjobia, and that would be the name of the island, Blowjobia, and I'm on that island all day. Welcome to Blowjobia.
It's a Waba's backstage because let him in. He's asking to be let on.
You know what I'm saying? That would be my own special, specific island. It ain't gonna be like Epstein Island, so let's not say that. But yo, that would be the, like, bro. Ain't no way I'm gonna have. Think about the amounts of money associated with those fights. The Maypac fight, the Maymack fight, the Canelo fight, It's like, how could you still be out here doing all this? If you got all that, it don't make sense, and you didn't get into nothing else. But we talking about Floyd and Floyd. Like, I ain't even work because
I would love to see the pay-per-views for that though, Jules. How you guys doing? Thank you, AJ.
No problem, man.
I would love to see the pay-per-views for that. What, 50K, 20K, 30K?
More like 10.
I don't think he probably did 5. I'm guessing.
Bro, I don't know what real shit. I don't know what he did. And I don't give a shit, to be real with you, because like his shit is turning into some clown shit. When you got a YouTuber that'll take your hat and run with your shit, I don't give a fuck what a bunch of dick suckers. Listen, I don't give a fuck what a bunch of dick sucking ass wannabes on social media say. When a man come up to you and he take your hat the way that kid took your hat, you know why? Because people don't respect you, fam. Fuck the internet. The internet is like the only place where, like, you see, no, on some real shit, that kid in here, he felt he could do that to you. That's not a good look.
Dude, do you think J. Cole would ever do that? Sorry, do you think he would ever do that, saying, oh, may he rest in peace? Do you think he would ever do that to Muhammad Ali?
No, do you think he would do that? Forget Muhammad Ali. Do you think he would do that to Mike Tyson?
Yes, I do, because I think he's that dumb sometimes.
I don't think. Listen, bro.
Never.
Listen, bro. I know. Listen, I'm not going to underestimate the stupidity of other people, but what I'm gonna say is, I personally do not think he would do that.
Julius, he said it himself. He respects Mike Tyson and he respects the greats. And I'm sorry, but Floyd, nobody sees him that he may be the greatest boxer.
No, he's a great. Listen, I think Floyd is a great boxer. Human. Don't ever get it twisted. He's a great boxer.
100%.
But if I have to ask. If you ask me, do I think people respect Floyd? the way they respect Mike? No. I don't even think they fear Floyd the way they fear Mike. Do I think they respect Floyd the way that, let's say, Pacquiao is? No, they don't respect you like that. I can tell you that right now. And I'm not a Pacquiao fan, by the way. I'm a Floyd fan. And I'm telling you right now, no, they don't respect you the way they respect
They
that.
respect Anthony Joshua more. You could clearly see it in
You
the
see how
video.
the dude walk around with the baby? You see how the dude walk around with the...
He passed it on. He goes, hey, hold it, please.
His whole shit is the shit. I think they encapsulated it better than I did, I should say. And it was, your whole shit is just repeating the same thing, that you got money. Aye, so what you want people to do? Like, aye, you got money, right?
Here's the thing, too, what you all were saying. Like, Jake Paul would ask permission to Mike Tyson, like, hey, I want to do a work, Mike. I'm going to snatch your hat off. Is that okay? And we make it look like I'm doing this. He would do that before just taking it.
I want to know if that's the real Sonny Edwards, because my spider sense tells me that it is.
Oh God.
Oh hell yeah.
Sonny a Capricorn, bro. Show some respect.
Yeah.
Sonny is a Capricorn. He team Capricorn.
I got a question for you, Jules.
Yo, Sonny, click the link, bro. You welcome here, son. If that's you, Sonny, click the link, bro. Let's chop it up. Let's talk some shit.
Hell
yeah. I got a
real
question,
shit,
Jules.
yo.
So we know what Canelo's doing for the next 9 to 12 months. Do you expect David Benavidez to do like Errol Spence and clean up his side of the street, or do you expect him to take just one fight for the next year after this one?
Nah, Samson. I spoke to Samson yesterday. I spoke to Samson. He said they're gonna get David back out in November, and it's gonna be either against Jermall Charlo, who I don't think it'll be against. You know, the names that he gave me. He said Jermall Charlo, Caleb Plant, or David Morrell. Now, out of those three names, the likeliest name is David Morrell, because Charlo not gonna fight again this year. And if he do, it ain't gonna be his first fight at 68. Ain't gonna be fucking David, bro. No way, right? Or at least I just don't see that happening this year. Then you got Plant. Plant is coming off a knockout loss. What Samson told me is they're gonna get Plant out over the summer. They're gonna get. I don't know who he's gonna fight. Maybe Anthony Durrell. I really don't know who he's gonna fight. But my gut says Anthony Durrell, because Durrell wanted that fight, and Plant needs to rebound, so that leaves Morrell. Morrell, well, he only has 6 fights. He's dangerous. He's a good fighter, but if you're gonna get him, now would be the time to get him. That he don't have a lot of experience. His best win is Mario Cazares. So I suspect. I don't suspect. He told me David's gonna fight again this year, but it's gonna be one of those 3 guys. You know, and it looked like to me, if you notice, the last 2 years, both the Charlo brothers, they have only fought once a year, right? You seeing David is getting out there more often than them. So what that tells me is the people at Showtime realizes, yo, Jamal, you a lost cause, homie. You don't bring in numbers.
Can I ask a question? Why
Why
in the hell, after what we just seen with Lemieux, would they want to put another middleweight champion in the ring with Benavidez? Like, do they not like the guy or something?
I mean, that's Lemieux fault to me for being too brave. To me,
Yeah.
That's Lemieux's
for his own
fault.
good. He was.
And what that tells me about Showtime, just what you're saying, that also lets me know that they listen to. Someone's been saying put Benavidez out there to fucking. He's a moneymaker.
I knew that was you. Everybody be quiet. Everybody welcome Sonny Edwards.
Nah, there was some questions. I heard some questions. Thought I was trolling account, yeah.
Sonny, just tell me what you think. The news broke that Canelo Alvarez is going to be fighting Gennady Golovkin for a 3rd time. What is your interpretation of that decision?
If I'm pretty honest, I think that fight was already signed, sealed, agreed, delivered. And I don't think losing at light heavyweight was ever gonna derail that one. I think it was already like the all we've seen for in the build up to Bivol was that fight getting mentioned, and that's for good reasons. You know, when they want to avoid a fight getting talked about, it'll only be us having the conversations. It won't be constantly everywhere. So Like I said, I think it was already done. Weren't he there ready to announce the fight on?
Exactly. That's
So-
exactly what I heard. That
So his contracts had already been signed, and it probably said in the contract, I mean, it doesn't matter if Canelo loses. Canelo probably didn't ever think he was going to lose, so he probably didn't have that pattern of thinking going into sort of negotiating that. But it's probably already got a date, a venue, everything. You know what I mean?
I agree. No, I agree with I said that ahead of the Bivol fight that I feel like win, lose, or draw, Golovkin is the move because it's too much money in that fight for it not to be the move.
And let's be real, since the last time Golovkin Canelo happened, outside of maybe social media polls, certain Twitter pages, like the narrative has been anything but Golovkin. So all of a sudden, now we're hearing it a lot before. Like I sort of knew the fight was going to happen before even the whispers. Just seeing the narrative that like the zone are pushing, etc. Like it's you can always see the narrative they're trying to post, and they do it. They do it ahead of time, so you're talking about it for when it gets exciting. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. If you pay attention to the promos, for those that don't know, just pay attention to the promos. Pay attention to what they're doing and pay attention to what they're talking about, and that's a foreshadowing of what they're about to give you.
Well, because you got to remember, when it's the promoters that are creating the content, asking the questions, editing it, putting it out, sending it to the press releases, to all the other, like, they are literally painting their picture of the agenda, however they want to, style out someone's career or paint a narrative on their side. So when you've got, Golovkin DAZN, Canelo DAZN, and they're talking about that fight, it's already been made way before Bivol stepped in the ring. But I don't think that's a bad thing for Bivol either, to be honest. I think it's probably like, I don't know, it's like two people backing away from a gunfight that they don't really need right now, because Bivol can go away and do a lot with a win over Canelo.
That's true.
He's the biggest name in the division now, facts. So he holds all the marbles, and really, he'd probably want to cement a legacy outside of just fighting perhaps a blown up welterweight to some people. So yeah, I think the Golovkin fight makes sense to Canelo as well, coming off a loss and visibly aging Golovkin, but at the same time, that's not like no write-off for me, because as fighters get older and lose some things, they gain other things. It's just the way the body works. So I don't know. I think
Sonny, what's your view of the Bivol fight, though? Because I think that a lot of people, from the very beginning, I think that a lot of people, at least in my country, at least in America, because he's a foreign fighter, they don't give him the benefit of the doubt that he's a difficult guy. But I've seen a lot of Bivol, and I was like, yo, this is not going to be easy. Canelo might lose this fucking fight. So now that you've seen the fight, what do you think Canelo can do differently in a rematch?
I think that's going to be a struggle, just because of the way Bivol stylistically creates a lot of safe space for him against someone, I don't know, about 6 inches smaller than him. You know what I mean? And you got to remember, like, he's not just he was a very good amateur. He's had a very good professional career. He's won world titles, done everything. Hasn't really had a close fight. I mean, has had a couple of performances where people aren't absolutely ecstatic, but and I'm not comparing myself to Bivol, but when you look at certain fighters' styles, they might not always be doing it the exciting way, but they will constantly do it the safe way, the efficient way. And Bivol's a fighter that always sort of gets into what rhythm he wants to get into and just boxes. So Canelo didn't have it in him to take it outside of that, because he's so good at maintaining the distance, he's so good at setting off the jab, he's so good at adjusting and not committing with his clean power shots. He doesn't load up too much, doesn't use much energy. As soon as Canelo was going big movements, which he had to do to get past the jab, he was closing up behind his shield and creating a slight angle off to the left to make even more space. Like, he did the fundamentals of being an outside boxer and staying safe to a T. And I think it's just one of those, for Canelo to really over jump that, he needs to find a way to be getting through his guard a lot more, to be keeping him pinned down a lot more, or to be trading with him at range a lot more. But when I think they're the 3 hurdles to overcome, I generally think a very good light heavyweight world champion for Canelo of 5'7", 5'8", I'm not sure.
He's not a big guy. That's why I don't give him crap like everybody's giving him, because I'm like, look, this is not a big guy at all.
And but do you know what? Because obviously, when people see my just the Twitter side of me, they only can see like glimpses of, I don't know, my opinions or on certain things that they catch. I'm a very big fan of Canelo outside of perhaps like the sort of the grey area question marks around the sort of the camp, etc., etc. Like his style, his physical prowess, his comfortability and confidence to remain completely in range and rooted to the floor, but still being able to make you miss or block and throw back big, powerful punches. I think there's so much that's nothing short of great. But I think it's one of those, if I'm perfectly honest. And again, like I'm a fan of Canelo, not his biggest fan because obviously there's red flags, but like people be scratching their head trying to sort of cap and play down Canelo, or maybe take this time because it might be the last time in a while where people are going to really be able to gloat on his name because obviously of how good of a fighter he is. So I understand all that, but I just think it's one of those that the size was a little bit too much of a reach, and he dared to be a little bit greater. And the only issue with that fight was, let's say Canelo jumped up to whatever light heavyweight is, and fought a prime Andre Ward or as any scary sounding opponent as you can think of at light heavyweight. I don't know, whoever you may choose in your head. If Canelo lost to that fight, or a massive name across the world, recognized in America, recognized in the UK and everywhere in between, and then it would have just been he dared to be great. When there's people like a fighter like Bivol, who's like a Russian Olympian, a Russian national squad amateur, had a great amateur career, had a great pro career, but just because he doesn't excite the casual fan, people look at Canelo-Bivol on a poster and just point at the name that they definitely know or have definitely been excited by. And disregard absolutely everything else in between. And at the end of the day, size is a big factor. Weight classes are there for a reason. And anyone that's starting off won his first world title, 147?
He won his first one. He started out as a welter, but his very first world title was at 54. And that's kind of the point that I'm making, that you already have a guy who's very responsible with his defense. He is not going to let you land clean. What does get through, because he's a light heavyweight, he can take it. He took a right hand from Joe Smith and didn't go down. That's the testament that even if Canelo can get through with a couple of shots, they're not going to make a dent.
And I think it's just... It's the way that Bivol managed to negate Canelo that really makes me struggle to see Canelo overturning that, because it was the ease of which he was doing it, if that makes sense. Like sometimes I could have sparred the same fighter 1,000 times, and if you tap into a certain couple of things and they can't get out of it, it will be monotonous and it would be over and over and over again. And there was 12 rounds and there was no evidence for me that he was even beginning to dent him. And for me, 12 rounds against any fighter, especially with the sort of work rate and the pressure that Canelo was trying to put on, if he didn't do it in that 12 rounds, I can't see him doing it, if I'm honest. I really, really can't see him doing it. And to be honest, because of how Bivol controls the fight, from his footwork to his range to choosing when to allow his fighters to throw, and he ties up and he'll use his size and his levers to sort of get hold of them before they've gone chest to chest, and then just sort of lean his weight on them. Like, he does so much well that might not always be the prettiest, it might not always be the most exciting, it might not always turn the heads watching highlight videos, but he's one of them fighters that just do so much well. There's like, you can literally pick most things he does, and he doesn't even get carried away with his work. When he was having Canelo backed up, the much man looked him in spots of bother. He had his feet under him. He wasn't overloading up with shots and getting carried away. Everything was disciplined. He was throwing at that 80% of his max energy the whole way through the fight. So he probably wasn't even tired come the end of that round, the fight, because he never, like, he was always bringing himself back when he probably could have done more, but he was still doing a lot. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I see.
Can
the
I
way
ask a question to Sonny?
Go ahead, Drew.
Sonny, were you surprised that Bivol was using Canelo's tricks against him and Canelo didn't have no adjustments throughout that fight?
Not really, because someone that's so dominant like Canelo, what tends to happen is, and I think this does kind of happen in boxing, is everyone will be half looking at Canelo, so he'll be doing stuff, and then people will look at Canelo, his success, go to the gym, and naturally then try and see if they can do it. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of that. But with Canelo not really having the fights to get his teeth into, we haven't really had to see him be down and overcome. He's K Kovalev, but come on, that looked like a sparring session until he pressed the gas. Do you know what I mean? It's like I can't really draw for that one. But he hasn't really ever needed to completely flip the script or change his style. Like even 11th round, 10th round, he was still doing the same things that he was doing against Callum Smith, trying to do against Billy Joe Saunders, trying to do against Caleb Plant, trying to.
Yeah, I agree.
And you know why though? Sorry, just to try and finish my point. I think the reason why I fight like he'll do that, and the reason why I probably think this is because it's a bit like how I am. When you get so used to people having to adjust to you, it's then like a steep learning curve when you have to wrap your head around. Sometimes I might now have to step around the opponent, if that makes sense. And I think Canelo just didn't have any of that sort of insight in his head. I don't think he had the belief that he would ever need to do that. I think what he brought into the ring would do it. And for a lot of part, that's got him so much success because he probably doesn't even watch what his opponents are doing. He probably doesn't even care about what his opponents are doing. Because when I get in there and start busting you up, it's curtains at the end of the fight. Do you know what I mean? So he's got that level of belief that he still approached Bivol
like anyone else,
same way as and even to the point of hitting his arms and then trying to just get close to him in the when he had him backed up and just sort of sink a solid shot like he's not against a light heavyweight where that solid shot probably isn't sending him into fucking hell and then letting you swarm all over him and stop the fight like everyone else. Like you're having to outscore this fighter and he didn't even try to do that. Do you know what I mean?
I think for the rematch, the most adjustment I could see from Canelo is he was loading up a lot of shots and punching the guy in the arms. What he can do in this fight is just let the punches flow and win on volume because putting a dent in this guy doesn't seem like an option. Like, you're not knocking him out. I'll tell you that right now. Not going to knock the guy out. But maybe he can outwork him in the round to where he throws more punches. The judges like it. They give him the round so long as he's busier.
For sure. But, you know, I think the biggest problem with that plan is what Dimitri Bivol is very good at doing is controlling the range. And he's good at doing it against probably people on his eyesight. So he's very, very good against doing it against someone so much smaller. And it's not range of him trying to find him at the end of the jab. He sets his feet and sort of hooks them into the ground and then waits. And if you don't do anything, he'll try and be on the edge of your range. So his little jab will just push through and be a little annoying scoring shot. And if you come forward, then he'll just edge back. And when you stop coming forward, if you're at the end of his levers, then he'll punch and then sometimes accelerate forward. I just don't think Canelo's going to get enough looks in to be trading with him and be outscoring him. Because Bivol's not firing with power.
Yeah, he's just letting him go.
Getting there quicker. His punches are getting to the target quicker. There's less of a tell on the throw. Like some shots, Canelo was trying to walk him down, and then a slow jab would just come through the middle and just hit him straight in the face. And he didn't react to it because Canelo's probably used to getting someone with their get agitated and get their sort of back up, that they're waiting. And then the minute they think they've got a shot, they swing big. And then he works in between that to get closer to him and then make him tired and start busting him up that way. But Bivol didn't give him any of that because he wasn't loading up. Bivol didn't try and hurt Canelo once.
Exactly.
That wasn't the mission.
Exactly.
And when he's fighting like that, he's throwing more efficient energy punches. Canelo was visibly more tired. He's controlling when shots are getting thrown. And like I said before, he's always working at a maximum of 80%. So any time that Canelo, from the first round to the 12th, when, double speed, he had the extra 20% to draw on. So I don't know. I think it was even more comfortable in the ring. Like it looked quite comfortable, but I feel like in his mind space, Bivol probably was at very much peace in his mind. There was probably very little going on. Like he probably wasn't struggling very little at all compared to other fights he's had, if I'm honest.
I mean, he looked like he labored more. Being honest with you, he looked like he labored more with Jean Pascal than he labored with Canelo. And it's not a coincidence. Jean Pascal is a very aggressive, come forward, light heavyweight. Canelo is a naturally smaller man. And I told a lot of people this, that look, I'm not trying to belittle Dimitri's victory, but yeah, size matters, bro. This is a light heavyweight.
I think made it worse for Bivol fights like that anyway. So there's probably 99% chance against Canelo, against anyone that he's going to fight like that. But you see, if maybe the narrative was sort of like, well, come on, like Canelo shouldn't even be beating this one. Do you know what I mean? Like this one is probably a bit too far. Like really, Bivol should. if the narrative was painted a little bit more like that, you might have seen it come out of Bivol a little bit more. Because I know fighters like to say that stuff doesn't get to them, but at the same time, we're proud humans. Do you know what I mean? And as much as we like to win, we also like to prove people wrong, and prove our supporters right. So, but because there was just so much like, okay, Canelo's gonna beat Bivol, then we're gonna go on to Golovkin. Like, he went in there with an underdog mentality as a man that's probably walks around at about 30 pounds naturally heavier or whatever it is, 20 pounds heavier, whatever, as a much bigger man. And he went in there with the, all I've got to do is sneak a win here for it to be good enough. Like, if Canelo went a really life and death with him and beat him by 1 point, there'd be people slagging Canelo because of the narrative before, saying, oh, is that all he did against that fighter? Do you know what I mean? Or, like, because that's the way of boxing is. Like, there's only two sides, and people either fall on either.
And it's unfortunate because a lot. Look, I maintained throughout the moment that Beterbievol's name was thrown into the hat, I looked at that as a banana skin more than Benavidez, more than Charlo, because this guy, he's not going to give you the opportunity to do the things that you're good at, which is get off your counter shots. Most people forget Canelo Alvarez against aggressive fighters. Outside of the Golovkin fight, he's the only guy. He's the only aggressive guy I've seen make Canelo uncomfortable. But outside of that, Canelo does exceptionally well with aggressive fighters. So give him Benavidez and all these other guys. He wins those fights. All right, Sonny pulled out, y'all. I don't know if he's gonna be back. But what I'm gonna say is what
That
I'm
was awesome.
Shout out to
That was
Sonny, man.
unexpected,
Shout out
man.
to Sonny,
Shout
man,
out to the
coming on.
flyweight champion, man. He beat my boy
There he
Wasim.
is. There he is. He's
All
back.
right,
There he
Sonny,
is.
my bad.
Sonny,
I pressed the wrong button and it X'd me out.
Hey,
So,
Sonny,
I wanted to ask you, Sonny.
Sonny,
Hold on, one at a time. Sonny, I wanted to ask you: did you catch Buatsi versus Richards? I had Richards winning the fight about 8. I mean, I had Buatsi winning the fight about 8-4. You know, and it was tight in the rounds. It was tight, but he separated himself. I felt he separated himself enough. Do you feel that Joshua Buatsi is ready for the upper echelon light heavyweights?
Yeah, I think Buatsi's got like a certain style, a certain set of skills that I think his ability and his strengths can take him on, and we'll see him compete and be competitive at the world levels. I think, I bear in mind he's a friend of mine, but just putting my boxing head on, I think there's certain styles that will cause him hell, and I think there's other styles that he will cause hell too. And I think he's just going to be one of them sort of fighters. He's very strong. His inside work under Virgil Hunter was marginally and noticeably improved and better and dangerous. He was tying up with one arm, finding a shot with the other, then tying up that one and bringing it back. And he was doing it in a way that he was staying safe, scoring and looking dangerous doing it. So, yeah, I was impressed. Craig Richards, shown against Bivol, he's a good fighter. Shown that when he's backs up and he's fighting on a sort of underdog instinct that he can show good levels to fight. We don't know really because of his best performances probably come in losses. Really, his biggest stock builders anyway. Because I rate probably Spider after losing to Bivol and Buatsi probably as high as any point I've rated him in his career, if that makes sense. So I think he boxed well. I think there was times frustration. I think there was little adjustments that didn't really get picked up on that was constantly giving him looks. I mean, he was standing at the edge of range against someone taller, which isn't always the it's either that little bit more outside or on their chest. The edge of range can be dangerous, but he was standing there, and because he knew Craig Richards, especially first half of fights, doesn't really believe in his hands, he was allowing him to trade jabs. But what Buatsi was doing was slipping slightly to take the head off the center, keeping his rear hand covering his face, and he was just pushing the jab. No power most of the time, just stiff, and he was out jabbing someone marginally taller than him, which again it showed maturity, it showed confidence in maybe going against typical boxing beliefs, so you don't try and out jab someone that's taller than you in range and trying to be in and out. But he took away Spider's jab, and then that allowed him to be getting control closer, where say like with Bivol and Canelo was staying outside of Bivol's jab, but then when he was finding himself on the end of it, and then when he was trying to catch up, Bivol had already either taken it away or started swarming back. So But Buatsi weren't allowing him to do that. He was standing off from him, letting him trade jabs, but throwing with him. Which maybe if Canelo used his smallness and his strength to be getting Bivol to punch over himself to give more of a look in and then find like a little angle, that's how we could have maybe sort of take away some of his strengths. But
I
me, Buatsi did
expected
it well.
Canelo to slip the jab more. And what I noticed is Canelo chose to catch a lot of those shots on the arms, catch a lot of them on the gloves. I'm thinking, what, is he trying to catch and shoot? Because that's not going to work. He needs to stay off that jab, like slip that jab, get under and around that jab. Don't just stand there and take it. And that's what he did.
You know, one thing I've noticed from a lot of these, maybe it's more historical, but obviously I'm only so more into boxing at like this era. I feel like a lot of the elite fighters and a lot of the people that are having good success in this era, they get used to inviting pressure onto their target with their positioning, but they reduce the amount of looks the opponent can get in. So they invite, usually big shots is what they want. Every time they take a big shot, a fighter that starts really understanding what's going on through a boxer's mind and their opponent's mind, every time they catch a big shot, they that's as good as hitting someone. Do you know what I mean? And once you've made someone just swing wild and just sink into arm, we've done nothing. Like that's as good as hitting someone in the energy balance and the belief balance. But I think what Canelo got so used to being able to just sit there, go lean in, react, pull back, lean in, you come throw, reaction with his feet on floor, or maybe like a little turn pivot. Because he got so used to been doing that for like consistently the last.
Yeah, he's done that the last about 4 fights, so that he got set in his ways with that. That definitely appears. You know what I was expecting, Sonny? I was expecting him to fight Bivol the way he fought Jacobs. He wasn't just catching shots with Jacobs. He was angling off, getting under and around the hooks, slipping the jab. With this guy, he chose to just take the shots on the arms. Like, I don't know why he's doing it.
Less mobility. Less mobility.
Yeah, but I think with Jacobs, he probably thought if he's got any chance of beating me, you know, he gave Golovkin a good fight, etc., etc. He's looking at especially this is a position of maybe about 2 different weights, world titles, and about 6 belts or something difference in confidence and years of being Canelo, the superstar. It was a bit earlier than Daniel Jacobs, like compared to the last block of fights we've been talking about. But I think he probably looked at the only way Jacobs will beat me if I try and walk him down and use his size and his range to outbox me, like Lara tried Trout without the size. But with Bivol, I don't know. I think he's just got so built up into like the Mexican king. I don't think like he had the same
situational awareness.
Reservations getting into the ring. And you know, complacency, I say all the time, is the biggest killer of dreams. It makes you overlook the obvious. And I think maybe that's what he did, but there might be ways to bring it back. If he approaches things, he gets on his bike a bit more, he starts inviting the pressure, hitting one clean shot, and then walking off, and well, I'm winning the round now with that first clean shot. Do you know what I mean? If he starts being a bit more tactically savvy and using... Because being smaller and being more athletic and being faster, all of those things can be more of a positive than being the bigger, stronger man. Especially being smaller. Like I'm a lot of the time smaller than people, and I like it when they set up and they think they're going to hit me, and if I edge back a little bit, they've completely left their chin wide open because they punch down for a jab. Like there's certain things that someone like Canelo should know to, you know, try and neutralize it. But looking at the performance, like, I just think he thought he was going to walk down there eventually, get back up into the thing and punch through his arms and punch through his head. And
that's what I took away from the fight. It's almost like he was expecting his power to get a certain level of respect, or he was expecting his power to have a certain effect. And when the power had no effect, he could not adjust. That's what I saw in that fight.
That's it. But anyway, hey, it's been great chatting to you. I just wanted to come prove that it was me, and I've been sat there chatting boxing around.
Hey, thanks, Sonny. I appreciate it, man. Always welcome.
Man.
It was a pleasure.
Sandy,
I was listening.
before you go, I would like to ask you one question. Why do you bother Eddie Hearn so much, man?
Nah, I don't, man.
On Twitter.
Cool, man. He just don't.
Yeah, how's Eddie like in real life? Obviously, I would love to be him one day, but how, like...
No, Eddie's cool. Eddie always liked me until I started tweeting him, but he does. But he just knows that I'm a young, hungry fighter that has to make a lot more noise. So if he
are you with Eddie or you with someone else?
Fellas, one at a time. Sonny, I do have a question. I saw you said you're willing to fight Paul Butler. Do you mean business for the WBO title?
I look at Paul Butler and see that as a cheap world title, but at the same time, at the end of my 15 boxing year career, and it says Sonny won a WBO bantamweight world title and was a 2-weight world champion at minimum, then come back 3-weight world champion, and then whatever I go on to do from there. Like, it all makes sense to me. And whilst it's in-house, and whilst we're both in a place where we can make one phone call and it happen, so be it. I mean, my brother trains alongside him, and you know, I weren't even allowed to go down and spar my brother and his training mate before my world title fight. So,
shout out to Charlie.
I mean, yeah, but so no, fuck all them, man. For now, I want to fight Paul Butler. You know what I mean?
But let me. I gotta ask if is it your aim to get Paul Butler in the ring, or is the Julio Cesar Martinez fight still something that you want?
Oh yeah, the Martinez fight is way more priority. There's probably like a list of priorities how it would go, but really, if you're not getting number one and not getting number two, if you're not getting number three, then eventually there's going to be after net that catches you. You're happy with. Ideally, it would probably be Martinez. He's got a fight coming up. I hope that I can get an agreement made where we can look for when our fight's going to be. That's my priority, because that brings the WBC with my IBF and the Ring magazine to the fight. So at the weight I'm starting at, ideally, if I don't have to jump up and down and left and right, I won't. If I can just keep going up and then up the next and then up and next. But, you know, so be it. I want the fight. They've been not the easiest to try and make the fight with thus far.
100%.
But
We'd love to see you undisputed, man, because it's going to put your name down in the history book.
Sonny, do you get the sense that fight is going to have shades of the Mythalane fight? Because the execution is similar between Julio and Mythalane. You know, they want to get close to the guy, swing real hard, and land big. Do you get the sense it's going to be that kind of fight?
Yeah, but I feel like, I don't know. I think you'll be surprised at where I'm putting myself in the ring. I think a lot of people would expect me just to skim around the back ropes, and there probably will be some of that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie to no one, because I do draw for that when I want my little pockets of rest, and when I think their drive's high enough that me not being there will be more agitating and mentally draining than me even being there and having a fight with them. So there will be definite elements of that. That's part of my sort of style. But now with Martinez, I think, without giving too much away, I think the best way to do with him is to set your stall, wait for him to start throwing wild, adjust as he's doing it, and then hit him in between. I think you do that with him, you can kind of open him up like a can of beans, repetitive. Too much of a look. He gives you too much of a look. Like with me, a fighter that the fastest hands and the quickest feet will struggle to catch me clean regularly. You cannot plant your feet, pull your chest down, pull your right arm wider than your wingspan, and land a shot against me, because people that aren't doing that aren't landing shots against me. Maruti fires very straight down the line, repetitive, monotonous, like little doof, doof, doof. Everything's just quite solid, but quite efficient and quite sharp, and gets to the target well. And nothing's got big shows behind it. He's just pushing with his body weight, and everything's coming in. Martinez, the opposite of that. He plants his feet now and then throws a punch tomorrow, hoping it lands the next day. You know what I mean? So, but that's not me saying he's useless, or that's not me saying like I don't respect or rate him as a fighter. He's up there with the best in the division. He's got power that equalizes all of that. Clearly, I'm a fan of his. I probably haven't missed a single one of his fights since he got ordered to fight my brother. So like, I'm a fan of him, and him being in my division is good for me. He's like a pocket-sized version of, maybe not a Canelo, but a little wrecking ball that people are meant to be scared of. Do you know what I mean? So the way I'm going to build a name, and also it be accepted at the end of my career, of my legacy and my fight, is that there be, at least on numerous occasions, me going in the ring where at least half the people are pointing at me, predicting me to lose. I think
most people don't realize your win over Mythalane was an upset win. The bookies had Mythalane as the favorite.
No, I know, and you got to remember, even with him being an unknown South African and me being a kind of out there British fighter, that would even skew it even more. Do you know what I mean? I had people putting on 5-10 grand on that fight. Do you know what I mean? So there was people betting me, but there was just enough people thinking his favorite odds were worth putting money on as well. Do you know what I mean? So because, like I said, he was the big favorite. He hadn't lost him that time. But like I said, people right now don't understand how good I am unless they're around me, close to me, you know, like in the gym, seeing me. Like, even what I've shown in a fight has been a % of what I do, because I do things, and especially leading up to getting to a world title and arriving on world level, I wanted to not really put a foot wrong getting here. I didn't want to start risking out, trying to put little Mexican fighters away and knock them out and get like a, you know what I mean? I didn't want or feel the need to do that, because then for me it's like, now I'm at this level, I can pick and choose when to have an entertaining fight. Do you know what I mean? And one entertainer fight.
Sonny, I
the whole
would like to say.
Go on.
Gets up.
I said one exciting boxing fight, and for some reason, like look at Tyson Fury, for example. Let's just look at that. Yeah, Tyson Fury about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. I remember Eddie Hearn putting an interview out that he's the most boring heavyweight boxer he's ever watched. He wouldn't watch one of his fights. Does anyone else remember them days?
Oh no, but Sonny, but to be fair, when he said that, right, it was 3 years ago. But when he said, you remember the Klitschko fight, you cannot tell me that was an entertaining fight.
I know. But what I'm saying is, so he beat Klitschko, dethroned the man, got all them belts, was the most boring person in the world. Okay, he beat Wilder after having a layoff, and it was a more exciting fight. He got put down, he got up, he got put down, he got up, he got the draw, the rematch. And all of that against a fighter that on paper, even though he's a scary fighter, but on paper he didn't have the length of resume or the length of however you want to say it, as Klitschko did. But because the fight was that little bit more of an exciting version of Tyson Fury, all of a sudden he's the Gypsy King. He's got all the followers in the world. He's got loads of people saying he's the best fighter to watch ever. He's like Muhammad Ali. When he was beating people on split decisions and people saying he didn't deserve the fight at like 14-0, and then when he's uppercutting himself and when he's not knocking people out.
This is what I mean.
I'm a big fan of Tyson Fury, but what I'm saying is this was the narrative for a long time. You have to watch him on Channel 5 with Mick Hennessy, not really getting the love from anyone. Yeah, and all it took was 1 year, one storyline, one thing, and boxing is that quick that that it just changes like that. So I'm trying to get them fights that I can be the most boring person in the world. I can be horrible. People don't like me. I can be this, that, and I'm the worst person. All of them things. But then when I get in that ring, when everyone's interested in the fight, because the people that want me to support me are worried if I'm going to win or might think I'm going to win. The people that want me to lose are hell-bent that I'm going to get beat. Like, people was with Tyson Fury. Like, let's be real. Everyone thought Deontay Wilder was going to knock out an overweight Tyson Fury.
Look, I'm going to be honest, all right? I'm going to be honest. I was one of those people. I said, this was my prediction. And all of it stuck until Tyson got up. I said, he's going to go in there. He's going to make Wilder look silly. And he's going to get dropped late. What I didn't anticipate is that he's going to get up. I did not see that coming. And that's really what fucked up my prediction. But everything else happened. Made Wilder look silly.
I just have to say real quick, Sonny, the title for most boring heavyweight is now Frankie Sanchez, and Jules will attest to that.
That is true. Frankie Sanchez is a very look. I'm old. I'm like damn near 40, and I can appreciate some good boxing in the evening, in the middle of the day. But if it's 11 p.m. in America, somebody got to get knocked out, man, because it's hard to stay awake.
Anyway, I'm jumping off anyway.
All right, thanks, Sonny. Appreciate your time, bro.
Thank you, Sonny.
All right.
Now, gentlemen, back to the Canelo Alvarez situation. As specified, I'm okay with a third Golovkin fight. I felt like, you know what, he might take that third fight because that's what makes sense. Commercially, it's going to be just as, if not more successful, I think, than the Plant fight. People are going to try to poo-poo all over him fighting a 40-year-old Golovkin. But Benavidez, you was fighting Lemieux this weekend, homie. And he got beat by Golovkin. So it's not going to really work. I don't know exactly how many buys it'll do, but I think it'll do, 800, 900,000 buys.
9 to a mil. 9 to a mil.
Julius, we know the naysayers are going to be there regardless, no matter what it is. So,
hey, Julius,
fuck them. We're not going to pay attention to those clowns.
I'll say this first. Devin Haney is the only one who ever knocked you out. I think that it does 1.2.
Motherfuckers is terrible. Y'all motherfuckers is terrible. But you know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people are angry that he chose Golovkin because of the resentment. At the end of the day, if you're not too good for David Lemieux, you're not too good for Golovkin. You wish that in other words, if you're Samson Lukowicz, you would want your fighter to get a Golovkin fight. Let's not lie to ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
100%. 100%.
Because you
Charlo would love to fight Golovkin. Every
exactly.
single other at 160 and 168 would love to face Golovkin because that's the money fight. Stop it. Just because he's not fighting your fighter doesn't mean anything. We know this is going to be Golovkin's last fight. So, and this fight has become even bigger now that Canelo has lost.
Exactly. And
Just
I said that now that Canelo doesn't have that air of invincibility, that he was having as a super middleweight, it adds intrigue to a third Golovkin fight because, and we talked about this on the last live, that Golovkin was saying, he knows the keys to beat Canelo. He's not going to give them away, but he said he knows the keys. Canelo just got beat. You have to wonder where his confidence is, that he's been brought back down to earth. How does that affect him psychologically? Can he be the same guy that he was before that Bivol fight? That sells the fight right then and there. That sells the fight.
And it goes back
there's
to my
no win
point,
for
Joe. It goes back
one.
to this point I was making about rematches and trilogies. The reason this Golovkin Canelo trilogy will be bigger is because, okay, he just lost. Can he bounce back against Triple G? Can the old man have it one last time? And if Canelo wins, it makes the Bivol rematch bitter because, like, okay, he got his win back. He's ready. He knows what he needs to do. Can Bivol do it again? Both fights are going to be bigger.
Oh, I mean, look, let me tell you what, that Bivol, look, provided that Canelo beats Gennady Golovkin and whatever those numbers are, right? Whether it's 800, 900 to a million, the Bivol fight will be bigger than that. The Bivol rematch, it will be bigger than that. Like, in other words, let's say that Golovkin versus Canelo 3 does 8, Bivol does a million. If Golovkin versus Canelo 3 does 7, okay, Bivol does about 8 and 9 because it's bigger. Everybody knows who Dimitri Bivol is now. If they didn't know him before, they know him now, and it will sell. I don't know why people keep acting like because DAZN is an app that people don't know how to use it. When we're in a generation that is dominated by apps. Every major linear network has an app. Showtime has an app. ESPN has an app. HBO has it. Like, who doesn't have an app?
Didn't Floyd just fight on an app? Like he said they never would?
Literally.
What app was that?
What's the name of the website that showed that shit, man? Fight?
It was like
Fight TV.
Oh, the same
Fight
one
TV.
that had Triller on it?
Yeah, that one.
They're still all around?
Bro, I mean, like, they do the, like, I'm not on my wrestling shit, but apparently there are different fighting federations outside of the WWE. I don't know what became of the WCW, but there are fighting federations out there outside of the WWE. I think they got one called AEW.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
I think they show that. I think on Fight they show those, and apparently it's popular. I don't keep up with it like I used to, but apparently
It is. Not the casuals, but the people who likes wrestling. They know about ECW.
People like different.
Cleveland calling me.
Yeah. Listen, Canelo is never gonna, like, you know what I mean? He's the people that are gonna hate him are gonna use any excuse to hate him. If you know what I mean, Julius. If he beats Triple G, Triple G was old. Once again, he's picking I think not the good fighters. But if he loses, look, old and Bivol, unknown Euro bum beat him. So Canelo is no good. Either way,
I mean, just look. Just think.
he's not gonna win.
The reason
people like
that
us on this panel and whoever's watching, we're gonna watch him regardless.
The reason that they kill their own argument is we just watched you guys celebrate Benavidez versus Lemieux. You the last motherfuckers that could tell me something about him fighting Golovkin when you bigging up Benavidez for Lemieux, fam. I said this the other day. They tried to shit on Saunders, saying that Saunders is no good. But Saunders beat Lemieux easy, way before Benavidez. So if you saying that Saunders is a pushover, what's Lemieux and what is Benavidez for fighting? It don't make sense.
I got a question.
And the funny thing is, though, if Benavidez was on Matchroom, Top Rank, or Golden Boy, they'd be saying the same shit about him that they're saying about Canelo. He's ducking black fighters. He's doing this. He's doing that.
Go ahead, Eson.
All right, just hypotheticals. I posted this on Twitter to get thoughts. If Canelo was to lose to Golovkin, what does that do to him?
Ruins him.
Oh.
I think so.
It ruins
Today,
him.
at least it ruins his standing today, at least.
No, I mean, if he were to lose, and I know that's what you want because I know you like Golovkin,
Yeah.
but
I want him to win, but
Isan.
he gonna lose.
You know
He's
how
gonna
they
lose
say,
probably.
you know how they say every dog has his day, Isan? You had
Yeah, I know.
yours with the Bivol fight, bro. It's all pain now. All pain now.
That's it. You can't have it every
It's
day.
all pain.
Listen, man.
You go listen. I'm trying to tell you the future. I just want to get you ready for it because you're a good kid and I like you. And I know you're gonna be on my live when you watch Gennady get smoked like ribs. You're gonna be here. And when he run it back with Bivol and he figure it out, my man Cash Money Cartel Canelo with the connections. When he figure it out, you still gonna be here and you gonna watch him get smoked. It's Canelo season, fam. It's time for
Isan, don't
Canelo.
forget,
I gotta
he's
say
6
this.
rounds
Go
ahead
ahead.
already. Canelo is 6 rounds ahead already, so don't forget that.
Bro, I already got him winning the fight.
True.
Fuck the rounds.
I gotta
the
say
fight.
this. Jules said something with Sonny earlier, and when we were watching the fight live against Bivol, all Canelo has to do to win that fight to adjust is give us 30 to 45-second flurries at the end of the round, and he would have won that fight on the cards.
That's
Yeah,
so
because
sick.
that's how you still know. But that is Oscar used
But
to do
that's
that.
the facts.
Oscar used
Yeah.
to do that, and Sugar used to do that. They'll let go of a flurry at the end of the round, and because that's the last thing that happened, that's the last thing the judges remember.
That's what we just saw with Buatsi. That's what we saw with Buatsi. Simple. That fight, Craig Richards and Buatsi fight. The main reason why Buatsi won those rounds is because he did a little bit more than Craig Richards.
I agree.
That's about
because he didn't outclass Craig. He didn't make it look like Craig don't belong in there. Craig looked like he belonged. And even though he lost a couple of, he looked like he belonged. So yeah, you just got to do a little more than the other guy.
I have to disagree with everyone on the panel though, because everybody's acting like Canelo conceded defeat. He never conceded shit. I mean, look at Chavez when he got beat by Pernell Whitaker. Even though it was a draw, all he kept saying was, dude kept running. I didn't lose shit. I feel that's how Canelo looks at the situation, like he never lost.
He got thoroughly. He lost pretty thoroughly. To be honest, it's not the same as with Pernell.
He acknowledged it. He acknowledged it on his Instagram. I believe it was the Sunday after the fight. That look, you win some, you lose some. In a nutshell, that's basically what he said. I think he acknowledges the defeat. It's just that when the cameras are rolling, I don't expect the guy to start bawling and crying like the Charlo brothers did.
Thank God.
You know, and even then, like I don't know why so many people, like, that's when I knew, like, y'all gonna call me crazy. But when Shakur, for example, when he was crying during the shit, I was like, I don't know why y'all laughing at that kid, because he gonna be a monster now. He will not lose now. He don't never want to feel that again. So he gonna be a monster. Mel, look at the run that Mel is on, right? And realize he in other words, like, he bared his soul that, like, nah, B, I ain't want to lose. And now look at him. Unmotherfucking disputed. It's not a coincidence, B. It's power in them kids.
What did he say? Manaka baby.
All right, so Julius, that means if they fight again, that means you and me got to make a bet on the rematch then.
Yo, dog, I'm just telling you now, don't take that bet because
I got a bet for you. I got a bet for you,
son.
Isan.
It's all pain for you now. It's all pain.
I got a bet for you, Isan.
What's up?
If Bivol wins, I'll pay you what you want. If Canelo wins, you gotta take a picture like Andrade did against Billy Joe Saunders' presser in the 1800 getup.
No. You know what you gotta do? Listen, what you gotta do if you lose. Isan, this is what you gotta do if you lose. I want full body video. You gotta do the Orange Julius saying welcome to the motherfucking relay. That's what you gotta do. You gotta do the Orange Julius. Welcome to the motherfucking. You gotta do that shit, yo.
Hey,
you guys
Drew,
are ruthless.
Yo, Drew. Hey, Drew, you said Canelo ducks black fighters. That's not true. He fought Caleb. So
that's true.
That counts for something.
No, what I said was, they say Eddie Hearn gives out slave contracts, but he pays Devin Haney more than Ellerby wanted to pay him.
Let me read. Well, let's get to that. What's good, Julius in chat? I was goody country. Apps are the way of the future, and new ones are popping up all the time. Wish I could be on the panel, but working. You know, if we do another one later on, you in there. And to Drew's point, which is very true, you literally have. Hold on.
Before let me say something to Country. 1 second, Country. You're still gonna be 45 minutes behind, so don't worry about it.
Now, to the point that Drew was making, this is how mentally ill some Americans are. It's a matter of fact that forget what Eddie says and forget what Devin and Bill say. Leonard Ellerby himself is on camera saying they made a fuck ton of money over there. But if you let these guys tell it, they're so mentally ill, they don't want to acknowledge that, yes, Eddie Hearn was paying Devin Haney more money than his own countryman is willing to pay him. Yet, according to these same people, oh, yeah, Eddie's slave contracts, then why did he let him go? Why did he let him go? If it's all slave contracts and peanuts and stuff like that over there, why did he cut Devin loose so that he would have that liberty? Because bear in mind, even though he wasn't under contract for the Jojo Diaz fight, Matchroom still did that show. Matchroom still put that money in his pocket. You let these bozos tell it's slave contracts and people getting paid peanuts. You don't know what the fuck you talking about, fam. You really don't know. If Leonard himself is and more than once, because I've used the videos more than once. I know there's more than one. He is acknowledging this kid made a fuck ton of money over there that he would not have made with us because we're not going to give you that. Eddie gave you that, though. Yet according to these dudes, slave contracts, peanuts. Y'all don't know what the fuck y'all talking about, man. Y'all don't know what the fuck. That's why when you fucking talk, motherfuckers don't listen.
If that were true, why is Andrade wearing designer clothes?
Bro, he dressed better than me.
Yup.
Mm-hmm.
You tell Andre I said that like, he a fly motherfucker.
All right. He runs in the family.
Yo, I don't know about all that shit.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that
Billy
Joe Saunders outfit though at the presser.
Yeah, that shit was wreck. I was like, what are you doing?
I don't know why he did that shit, yo. On some real shit, like
listen. Demetrius, you can tell he's a strange cat. He's a strange cat. You know,
yo, don't badmouth him here. I don't want him looking for me. If y'all got beef, let that be a family thing. I don't want him looking for me.
It's simple, yeah. It's simple. 1 second. It's simple. These Leonard Ellerby and these they're portraying their own insecurities. They know they don't have the power like Eddie Hearn has. They don't have the money like Eddie Hearn has. So all they're doing is chatting shit. They're portraying their own insecurity. They know they can't pay their fighters the way like Eddie Hearn can do.
Exactly.
The numbers Eddie Hearn does. He's a global flipping promoter. And what are you?
And this year I'm getting Eddie, dog, and he gonna do a motherfucking Q&A this motherfucking year.
God bless you, man.
You gonna fucking get him. I'm gonna like because fast car, and I'm gonna make like $1,000 off that live. Okay, I'm gonna make like $1,000 off. Dennis said odds for Canelo Triple G now that he lost to Bivol, same or close? They're closer, but they're not the same. Canelo will still be the favorite. He will still be the betting favorite in that fight. Once the money starts to come in, the late money for Canelo, he probably gonna be the overwhelming favorite because still Triple G's still 40. You know what I mean? He's still 40. And Isan gonna have to live through that. Like how I had to live through my man Roy getting slid under that ring. You gotta live with this, and you gonna see it.
Hey,
and I'm gonna watch it.
Isan, Jules has a message for you. He told me, Isan, Jules has a message for you. Fuck you, Isan.
Fuck you, yo. Like you thought it was fucking over with that fight. The pain just started, my guy. Pain.
You fucked with the wrong guy, Isan.
Now you gonna know the pain. Like, yeah, Canelo lost a fight, but Gennady finna get stretched.
Hell no.
Like,
hell no.
I got a question.
We'll see.
I got a question for the panel and for Jules. Do you think the WBC makes David wait like Dillian White did for his shot?
Yes.
If they want to stay in the Canelo business.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Because they look, they looking at look, David is the A side to Charlo. I see that. They're like, yeah, if we want this to have money, it's going to be David's end that brings in the money. That's how it's looking because the Arizona cats really, really, really back him like on some real shit. So I see that. But in the greater scheme of things, Mauricio is a Capricorn. He not stupid. Why the fuck would I take the belt from the dude that's giving me all this money to give it to you? What we get out of that? Like, nah, Canelo, you chill, fam, and you sit with your interim, yo. If we could make Dillian wait, we can make you wait. We motherfucking took the belt from Rochigliani. We do what the fuck we want over here, bro. And you need to realize that. We do what the fuck we want at the World Boxing Council. I'm fat as shit, and I'm old. I do what I want. I ain't mad at him. Those that don't know, Mauricio's a Capricorn, but he not one of the good Capricorns like me and Drew. Not one of the good ones.
Hell no, y'all are all the same. Y'all are all the same.
Nah, no, we not. No, we not.
Hey, I like that. Like they said on Training Day, he's a low down, ruthless vato, but I like that. I like that.
Listen, Isan, I can't wait, bro, because it's not even far away. It's September. Yo, you gonna spend the whole Sunday in bed, bro. Sunday.
Listen, tell your man to cut that weight right. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yo, listen, bro. Your man about to get scratched. Not even stretch. He about to get scratched.
Listen, regardless of what happens, I'm prepared, and he's about to be 3-0 versus that ginger motherfucker.
You about to see. It's time to cheat, bro. It's time for Klembo. It's time for Osterman.
Can we just appreciate the schedule that DAZN's giving us?
I do.
You guys see Matchroom posted that the AJ fight's about to be announced officially.
Base the kid, Capricornian steward of the UK chapter. Base the kid says, why would a PBC call him Benavidez a 3-time champion after the fight? Because it's a fucking interim belt. They trying to make the interim. They literally trying to make like interim and Reggie into like full-fledged, like he's like Gervonta Davis is a 3-weight champion. No, he not.
Matter of fact, I got a question about that. Like, what? Like, does an interim title only usually have 3 of the same belts? Like,
say it again, Jay.
I mean, do they like? I saw a Beterbiev with like 3 belts, or like one around
his
waist.
No, you know what it is? Those is the 3 belts that he had. The one that he won in 2017. Remember the one he won in 2017. Then the one that he won from Darrell, and the other was the interim.
Got you. Okay.
That's what them 3 shits.
Got it. Okay. Oh, and another question. Try not to laugh at this, guys. Jules, you doing a watch party for Davis and Rolly?
Yo, dude.
You have to.
Real shit. Look, you know what I'm probably gonna do that night, because I know that I'm not gonna be watching boxing unless there's another card. Unless there is another card, and I don't think there is another card that night. I'm gonna take my wife out, rub up on her ass, try to get some in the car.
Good man.
Can I just say though, Jules,
y'all can tell me how it went. Y'all can tell me how it went.
I gotta watch that. I'm sorry.
You know what, Jules? You know you would make money with the Raleigh retard jokes though, doing that live.
Yeah, but I'm not giving them dudes my bread, and I ain't about to be sitting here fighting with a laggy stream. Like, nah.
I heard. Jules, did you watch the Pascal fight at all? Did you check in that new? App?
I heard that shit was lit.
Really legit.
I saw it. That was a good fight. I saw it.
I paid $17. I paid $17 for a whole entire year, and they're gonna have fights every single month now. They have a card. That was a really good fight, man. I'd have paid $18 for that, just that whole entire card. It was really, really good. You should check it out.
I heard that they're gonna start the next string is, which is why I'm gonna get it, because they told me they're gonna do flyweight division fights. So I'm like, all right, because the other flyweights, they don't really get a lot of shine. Like, if you notice, they don't really get it. Like, Superfly gets shine, obviously, bantamweight, super bantam, but the flyweights don't be getting shine like that. So I might have to fuck with it. For
what you had to pay in the overall production, and honestly, the commentary is really good. I mean, $18 for the whole entire year. Like I said, after tax, I think I paid $17.75 for a whole.
I like
year.
Antonio Tarver, and as an analyst.
It went really well.
He's
check
good.
it out.
He knows the shit.
Under $20 for a year.
I like the fact that they had Roy and Paulie, but you also got the Magic Man. I liked that because I seen clips of the pre-production that they had where they was talking about the Canelo fight, and I'm like, yo, this shit looks solid, yo. Like, I might have to fuck with this. This shit looks solid. We going. You said it's 18 for the year. You can't beat that.
Yeah, I paid $17.75 after taxes. They even gave me a discount because I paid for the whole year. Under $18.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to do that shit. I paid lot more than that for Nerf guns.
Give me your advice. Should I go to Beterbiev Smith or Rungvisai Rodriguez?
Better be Smith.
Nah,
Do better be
nah.
Smith.
Look, being real with you, if you want a war, because I think Beterbiev is going. It's like yeah, they both dope, but let's be real. Beterbiev going to turn him into a flapjack, bro.
Somebody's
Probably
getting-
fast.
somebody is getting hurt in
top
that
to
fight.
bottom, every fight on the whole card, I think Rungvisai Bam gives me more value.
Yeah, like
Yeah, that's
with
true.
Bam,
That's
and you
true.
know what the other shit with Bam is? Like, God, I love this little motherfucker, man. Yo, he fighting one of the for real. And we know Bam could punch, but you don't punch like Saw, bro. Like you box better than Saw, but you don't punch like Saw. So that's gonna be I really don't know what's gonna happen with that
Man,
fight,
I
bro.
got to applaud Bam Rodriguez. The stones on that man, just
Real
for
shit,
just
like
for
because I
fighting
wouldn't.
these dudes. Like seriously, like why? Like now,
I didn't,
I'm
I
pulling
didn't
for him.
even know if he was gonna stay at Superfly J. I didn't know if he was gonna
Neither
I thought he was gonna
did
go back down.
And what's he gonna do next? Fight if he fights Chocolatito
Well, if
after
he
this,
fight
like
Chocolatito,
that this dude is
He's a real one.
so-called killer.
Yo, if he
Ju-
fights
he- Jules,
Chocolatito,
he could cement his Hall of Fame legacy in 3 fights, can he?
Before he's like 25.
Bro, he jumped
Good
up
for
2
him.
divisions for Quadras. Now he fighting Saw. If Choco is next, I got a question for y'all. Estrada has not fought since the last Chocolatito fight. He got to fight Franco. Do y'all see that as a potential banana skin?
Too much experience. I think Estrada
No.
gets it.
No,
I think the layoff.
It's trying to
That's
get
potential
to
because of the layoff.
He said he had COVID, fam. COVID complications. That's why they did. Let me start with Jay. Jay, do you believe he really had COVID, or it's just that he did not want to have to deal with Choco? Be real. Do you believe the COVID, or was they just trying to get out of that Choco trilogy?
I believe they was trying to get out of the trilogy because of the club, because of what happened in the second fight. That's what I believe. That's what my gut is telling me. Could be wrong, but that's what my gut is telling me.
Villain, what do you believe? What does your gut tell you? Do you believe that they really had COVID, or nah, y'all was just trying to get out of that Chocolatito fight?
Unfortunately, I think initially, whenever people got COVID, it was real. But I think like the PR people realized it was a really good excuse to get out of it. A la like Tyson Fury, like when they delayed that fight. I don't think he had COVID. I think it was just like Jay said, it was just a complete excuse to get out of the fight.
Well, do you believe the COVID story that he really had COVID and it hampered his training, or do you believe that he was just trying to get out of the Chocolatito fight?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it 1-1? Estrada has 1 win. Chocolatito has 1 win.
It should be.
Okay, in my opinion, I have to believe him because if he already won once, why does he need to lie?
I guess it's because he was in the fight, and he knows, or at least the angle that I'm coming from is he was in that fight, and he knows he lost that fight. Even if the judges gave it to him, you lost that fight, and you don't want to do it again. That's how I look at it. Like, I don't want to sell it to nobody else, but that is how I look at it, that you know that you were lucky to get that decision. You know that. And if you go in there and do it again with this guy, it might be worse.
Maybe they wait a little bit before they get that rubber match.
That's if he still has the fucking title. Golden Boy, look, this is the other thing. I don't even know if Estrada still is a matchroom fighter. Golden Boy's doing that fucking fight, bro.
Oh shit! Well, they won the rights. They won the purse.
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
They would have only. It's my understanding, and I have to look at it again. Matchroom didn't bid to do that fight.
Hey, real quick, Jules, did you see Beterbiev's sparring photos?
Yes.
Did you notice that his partner had a black eye and it looked like he got tattooed up on his body?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm trying to tell y'all, like, value. Look, of course, Beterbiev versus Smith is must see, but it's a fight that probably could. I would be surprised if it goes 6.
Same. He just hit too hard.
He hit too hard, bro. And Joe don't do no, like, how could I put it? If Joe gonna get him, it'll be some fast shit. If Joe gonna get him, like if you just hit him with the only Long Island punch, the punch of all the Long Islanders that ever lived in Long Island, in the history of Long Island, all they spirits is in your fist.
Screw that. I'm fighting dirty.
Punch him in the dick.
Exactly.
I mean, see. I don't see this fight going to this because these are two guys who you're gonna have to knock out one of them out to make them stop fighting.
Yeah,
like no matter what you hit,
Joe not a guy that lay off. Joe come forward.
Neither is Artur. Neither is Artur. like you drop, he's just gonna keep on coming too. So this ain't going probably 8 rounds. I don't think.
And we talked about this in the last live that Joe's corner, they're smart people. They know they're boxing, and if they got to pull him out, if it's looking a certain way after a couple of rounds, they'll pull him the fuck out, bro. Like, they're not going to let him sit there and get brain damage. They'll pull him out. They going to have that towel nearby like, nah, B, this shit is getting wow. We got to stop this. Because Joe come forward. Joe don't box and jab and all that shit. Joe come forward.
Shame on Derrick James. He should have pulled Marcus out against Artur. I don't know what the hell was wrong with him.
Can I say thank you to Canelo for starting this Monday off right for Jules and the relay to make money and irritate people?
I love it. I fucking love it. Like they think that the hate bothers me when I make money off the hate. You know what I'm saying? And this is the other thing. I've been noticing this lately, right? It's like people either know me or they know this channel, and I'm like, this is not a big channel. You see what I mean? The trolls on Twitter, the trolls. Oh, you trying to? Like somebody just sent me a lot of shit, and I'm like, yo, who are these people? Like the screenshot you sent me the other day. What's his name? Guillotine or Guillermo? The dude that he said, oh, everybody in this chat is suspect. I'm like,
oh yeah, the one I tagged you in. Yeah,
I don't know who that person. I swear on God, I did not know who that. I'm like, who is that? Like, why they mad at me? I didn't do nothing.
What it is, Jules, is you got a lot of hate watching, but they refuse to subscribe because you get fighters on here, so they're gonna watch regardless.
The reason why they
won't subscribe.
The reason why they won't engage with them is because they know they get cooked. The thing is,
that is true though.
He uses logic and facts, and these dudes are always in their emotions. It's you always see in all these Twitter and Facebook posts is every time you always try to have an opinion or a discussion with them, they always talk about I feel like and I think. They never can deal with anything that's actual tangible. And Jules, and that's why I follow Jules over everybody. He's always using facts, even if it goes against like how he feels. Like maybe he's emotionally connected to a fighter. He looks past us to realize what the logical truth is. Yeah,
like Chocolatito in my heart. Chocolatito deserves to be on my pound for pound list, but can I put him there? Unfortunately, no. I'd be breaking the rules.
Currently not a champ. Unfortunately,
it kills me because I'm like, bro, that man is one of the best in the world. I don't give, that's how I feel. But the rules are what the rules are, and the rules are in place for a reason. If I abandon the rules, all hell break loose.
And not to keep ringing your bell, Julius, but you also have charisma compared to these flat, boring commentators who think that they know everything.
I mean, you know what it is? It's the shouting matches that get me. They're like, do you think that because you're yelling, or do you think that because you're talking over people that you're actually making a salient point? Because if you do, you have a 12-year-old's mentality. And I don't say that for comedic value. I'm being that's like, yeah, you have a child's mentality. Do you think raising your voice changes the facts?
In their mind, it does.
In their mind, it does, and that's why they don't get shit done. You dumb motherfuckers.
So
I'm like,
in Japan. Nonito's in Japan now. How does everybody see that fight playing out?
This is one of the best fights of all time.
Be wary of Nonito because he said something that caught my attention. Like, yes, of course, the betting favorite is going to be Inoue, and it's easy to say. In other words, you could settle into a prediction like, oh yeah, well, if he knew he beat him before, he'll beat him more decisively the second time. But something Nonito said caught my attention, that he wasn't fighting to win before. He's just kind of going through the motions. I don't know why, but that caught my attention. Like, what if he wins, bro?
Oh, he's the second greatest Filipino fighter who ever lived.
After Manny, hell yeah. After Manny, hell yeah.
I like
Nonito, man. I don't give it. Like, I ain't pick shit. I mean, like, but I fuck with Nonito. Like, I fuck with him. Like, that dude's a bad dude,
He's a gangster, man. He's a gangster.
To answer your question, Jules, one, if he wins, where does he go on the pound for pound list? And two, what do you want to see him do in the first few rounds that he didn't do in the last fight?
Listen, a lot of people don't even like that I have Nonito on there, not realizing Nonito is a 4-weight champion who took belts from 5 champions. He already has a dope resume. If he goes on, and I said this in the video, if he goes on to beat Inoue, that's 6 champions. If he goes on to beat Paul Butler, that's 7. And undisputed at bantamweight. Number 1, fam. 4-weight champion who's an undisputed champion. If he ain't number 1, he's number 2. He's already beaten more champions. He's already beaten more champions than Usyk, but because of the setbacks, he lost ground. He's already beaten more champions than Crawford, but because of the setbacks, he lost ground. If he goes on a run to where you beat Inoue in Japan, then you beat Paul Butler for the undisputed, bro, you got to at least be number 2. At least.
Special shout out to ESPN Plus for picking up the fight as well. Thank God for that.
We're going to have to get early in the morning for that one.
I work second shift, so I can see
Mr. Honda. Thank you, Mr. Honda, for making the fight happen.
Dennis says Smith went 11 rounds with a broken jaw and a corner let him go. Yeah, and I don't think that's Sullivan Barrera broke his jaw, fam. What will Artur do to it?
Destroy his skull.
Bro, like he
knock that shit off.
By the time Artur done with Joe, he gonna look like Mickey Ward. He gonna look like Mickey Ward. He gonna compress him like bing, 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 bing. Bruh. I pray for Joe, but like I said, Joe seems to thrive in situations where he's being counted out. And now, unlike in the Vlasov fight, he's being counted out. In the Vlasov fight, he went as the favorite, and he underperformed. He seems to thrive in situations where he's being counted out. Like, nah, you ain't gonna win this. You ain't gonna win this. So I don't know, B. I don't know.
But if he does, that is a major banana skin,
bro. If he beats Artur, that fucks up the whole undisputed because Bivol.
Yeah, I'm not trying to
see that rematch.
Man, we know how that ended already. Like, does anybody expecting that to go any different if it happens again?
No, it won't go no different. It really won't. But Bob won't give Bivol Joe if he wins them 3 belts, bro.
Let me say this. There is a reason why you get paid, Julius, and I'm the fan. Like, this weekend is the perfect example. I do this shit for fun. You actually get paid to do this.
No, I mean, shit. You can work it out, man. You just gotta pay attention. You just gotta be observant. But what I was gonna say is, if Joe wins, Bob will protect him because he knows he's vulnerable. The only person I could see him cashing him out with is possibly Anthony Yard as a favor to Frank. But I'm like, nah, B, you got a dude from Long Island with 3 belts pulls a major upset like that. I don't even know, B. I don't know. Like, it's money in that, bro. He could really be a draw at MSG, Joe, because he's the dude that you work with. You feel me? He's the dude that you know. He got the everyman thing going. I'm like, if he was to pull off an upset like that, like, I know he pulled off 4 upsets, but this one is big, bro. Like Rocky 4. Like, it's big. Like,
would he have to go on your pound for pound list if he actually won?
No, because that would be the first champion that he ever beat.
Okay.
The argument isn't strong enough. Like, see, if Artur wins, it's different. He already beat Vosdik. Joe would be the second champion that he won, that he won a belt from. So the argument is there. But for Joe, it's not really there because the WBO was vacant when you won it. You didn't win it from a champion. So you would have a weaker argument than the weakest argument on the list.
Now, Jules, say George beats Haney and becomes undisputed. Where does he go back on the pound for pound list?
9 or 10. 9 or 10. It all depends on who's there at the time because remember, the loser right now, Inoue and Donaire are ranked on the list. The loser is going to lose ground. That opens up a door for the winner of Kambosos versus Haney to walk through. So if it's George, he has a stronger argument than Devin if Devin were to win. George already beat a champion in Teofimo Lopez. If he beats Devin, that makes 2. Devin does not have that argument. Devin, for him, that would be the first champion that you beat, the first and only. So your argument is weaker than if it happens the other way. That doesn't mean that he won't go on the list, but he'll probably be at 10 because that's the weakest argument.
True. Hey, that's fair though. At least he would be on the list.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to keep him out, but it's like I look at a young guy like Stephen Fulton, bro. He beat Angelo Leo. He beat It's Contentious, but he did beat Brandon Figueroa. He unified. That's a good argument that he got. Artur, if Artur wins, he beat the fuck out of Vosdik. The fuck, and I picked Vosdik to win that fight, and he beat the fuck out of him. If he beat the fuck out of Joe, that's 2. That's a stronger argument. It's like, yeah, Devin, you become undisputed, but what did you have to go through to get it? Well, you only really had to go through George. All right, well, Artur, what did you have to go through to get where you at? Well, you had to take on Vosdik and Smith. Stephen Fulton had to go through Figueroa and Leo. So it's kind of a stronger argument, even though there were less belts involved.
I still got Devin.
We'll see, because I told you I like what he's doing. I like the example that he is setting. They're like, yo, y'all got to stop bitching up, and y'all need to get y'all passport out for some of these fights. It ain't always going to be that the guy got to come to you. Sometimes you got to go to the guy.
Call him an email champion now, motherfuckers.
Yeah, that shit pissed me off when that shit.
Especially after if he wins.
I never held it against Loma, what happened, because I firmly, like, bruh, it's not Loma, it's Bob, fam. Bob don't want to send. Bob, no, at that time, the Zone was throwing a lot of money at a lot of fights. And they wanted to bring Loma to the Zone. Bob said that himself, like, you know what Eddie trying to do? He trying to use the Anthony Crolla WBA mandatory defense to bring Loma to the Zone. So what we did, we gave Loma some extra money. I mean, we gave Crolla some extra money off the top to just agree to the terms, and they did that. But he knew Eddie is going to do it again, except this time it's going to be with Devin, and they're going to throw a lot more money at that. So what we going to do is we going to franchise Loma. No mandatory, no purse bids, no issues whatsoever. That's why the fuck that happened. It wasn't because of Loma. It was because of fucking Bob.
And I think a lot of people just like to focus on the franchise, whatever the hell that is, more than they actually want to focus on how that actually happened.
Exactly. They don't want to say that. Whenever I bring it up, people get mad at me and they take it. Look, I'm not attacking Loma, but the responsibility is on his side. It is. You have to ask for a franchise. They don't just fucking give it to you. They can't impose it on you. You have to apply for it. Then they have to vote.
Here also, you have to approve what Top Rank wants to do. So Aegis presented you what they wanted to do, and Loma had to give the okay.
I mean, any way you slice it, the blame for that fight, and I say it all the time, if it wasn't for that and the fight would have just went through, Devin would have lost. Simple as. And I'm still not convinced that he beats today's Loma, let alone yesterday's. That if you would have got him right after the Abdullayev fight 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, however long it was, he would have beat him. Loma would have beat him.
Honestly, I got into a debate with somebody about Lomachenko still being on this pound-for-pound list. I don't agree with it just because he hasn't fought anyone for a while now, and he hasn't beat a champion yet. Yes, he did beat what's his name?
Nakatani and Comey.
Yeah, he beat Teofimo's leftovers, and it was actually quite impressive. But the fact is, he hasn't beaten a champion, he doesn't hold a belt, and he hasn't been active. I wouldn't put him on the pound for pound today.
I mean, look, Ring Magazine has Loma and Estrada on their shit. I don't have either of them. And if Ring Magazine wants to have those two guys, that's their prerogative. But for me and how I do mine, I cannot have them on mine. Estrada is too inactive, and Loma is not a champion. It's not like you beat Teofimo Lopez. You beat guys that he beat.
And do we even know if Loma's coming back?
I don't know, bro. We haven't heard shit, have we?
Exactly. Is he still out in the Ukraine? Is he still out there?
Yeah.
He's still out there, bro.
Damn.
Don't you think it's a little disrespectful to keep him on a list? Because isn't that distracting from what he's trying to do over in his home country? I see it as,
I look at it as shortchanging other fighters. You know what I mean? That, like, look, the pound for pound list is a short list. You're talking about the greatest fighters in the world, right? And there's guys that have proven that, yeah, they're on that level. I'm not saying that Loma hasn't proven that, But you got a 4-division reigning champion in Kazuto Ioka, and because the Americans are they got stranger danger or they're xenophobic, you don't highlight that like, yo, this man is a bad dude. He's been a champion at 4 weights, and he's still a defending champion today. You don't give him his flowers. It's disrespectful to the sport.
Plus, we don't know who this guy is. Maybe, if he was on the list, people would be like, wait, who is this? Who is this guy? Let me look him up.
Bro, you hit the nail on the head, because that's what the list is intended to do. Shed light on the fighters that are being overshadowed by more popular fighters, namely the heavyweights, because that's the story. And at the time, and it's still that way now, when the heavyweight division is buzzing, all of boxing is buzzing. When the heavyweight division is really buzzing and bubbling. And the way it was, or at least what I read from all them old articles about the shit, the whole thing about the list was to shed light on the lighter weights that, people aren't as familiar with, and they don't talk about it as much. They don't get watched as much as the big men. So, obviously, motherfuckers don't watch super flyweights like that. So you supposed to give him that shine so people can know about him. That, just like you said, maybe if he's on the list, people ask, who is that? What the fuck he do to get there? And then they'll get familiar. But because they don't treat him right, well, they ain't gonna get familiar. It'll take motherfuckers like us to tell people he's a 4-division champion, fam. He not new to this.
Honestly, I think it's cool as hell that Muhammad Ali, lightweight, proved why Sugar Ray Robinson is one of the greatest who ever lived, because he copied his style. Like, when Burt Sugar explained it, he said that a lower weight guy with more weight, more height, could he beat a heavyweight? And that kind of does prove it right there by, using that same style in the heavyweights.
That's why Usyk and people think I'm on some fanboy shit. Like, no, dog. Usyk is the literal answer to the literal question. Can a smaller man beat a bigger man on the premise of skill and not size? Yes, he just did that. He literally just did that on skill, not overwhelming power, not overwhelmingness, just off of skills.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not something that you see every day, but yes, it is possible. That's why they're considered great when a smaller man beats a bigger man.
That's how fucking Roy beat John Ruiz for the WBA. It was skill. It wasn't size. Damn sure wasn't size.
The one thing I want to give credit to, I like to give credit to Michael Hunter, because he's been spot on about some predictions he's made.
He has been on some real shit.
He predicted Povetkin to knock out Dylan White in the first fight, and he also predicted Usyk to beat Joshua on points.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
And he about to fight Huey Furious, I think. So we'll see how that goes.
He should win, hopefully.
All right, on that note, gentlemen, I'm going to take a quick nap. Always a pleasure.
Have a good day,
Hey, Jules. Those
right,
afternoon naps are fucking you up, Jules.
They are fucking me up, but I love them.
Who don't?
I love them.